Hi, hello, welcome to all. In this video, we are going to discuss about job work related test your knowledge questions. What is this test your knowledge questions in job work? In this first question, under what circumstances can the principal directly supply goods from the premises of job worker without declaring the premises of job work has an additional place of business? So the goods can be supplied by directly from the place of business of job work without declaring any additional place of business. Two circumstances will arise. That is, first answer will be the goods can be supplied directly from the place of business of job work without declaring it has additional place of business. Here in two circumstances will arise. First of all, where the job worker is registered taxable person, or where the principal is engaged in supply of such goods has may be notified by the commissioner. So here the goods can be supplied directly from the place of business of job work, directly from the place of business of job worker without declaring it has additional place of business in two circumstances, namely the first one is that the job worker is a registered taxable person if the job worker is registered taxable person, or where the principal is engaged in supply of such goods has been notified by the commissioner. If the goods are notified by the commissioner or the job worker is a registered person, then it is not required to show it is as a without declaring it as a additional place of business by the principal. Next, question number 2. Second, what happened when the inputs or capital goods are not received back or supplied from the place of business of job work within the prescribed time? So the principal will be liable to pay tax. Principal will be liable to pay tax when he is not receiving the goods. First, if the inputs or capital goods are not received back by the principal or not supplied from the place of business of job worker within the prescribed time limit, it would be deemed that such inputs or capital goods have been by the principal to the job worker on the day when the said inputs or capital goods were sent by the principal, that is, or on the date of receipt by the job worker, where the inputs or capital goods were sent directly to the place of business of job worker. Thus, the principal would liable to pay tax accordingly. So, tax accordingly. Here, the principal is liable to pay tax. That is, if any inputs or capital goods, whenever he is not receiving by the principal officer, or not supplied from the place of business or job work within the prescribed time, and they provide the prescribed time limit, it would be deemed that such inputs or capital goods supplied by the principal to the job work. It will be deemed supply, which is principal supplied to the job work, and on that date he would liable to pay tax as accordingly. That is question number 2. Next, question number 3. What is there in question number 3? Who is responsible for maintenance of proper books or accounts related to job work? Who is the person? It is completely responsibility of the principal to maintain accounts of job work related to inputs and capital goods whatever he is selling. That is, it is completely the responsibility of the principal, not the job worker, to maintain the proper accounts of job work related to inputs and capital goods. That is question number 3. Next, question number 4. What is there in question number 4? Genuine engineers had a mold delivered directly to a job worker from the supplier for making certain precision parts for use in the factory of genuine engineers. Okay, as per the agreement, the molds was to remain with the job worker as long as work was being sent to him. After 4 years, the departmental audit team that visited the job worker noticed the molds and traced. So, after 4 years, the department was visited the job work and noticed the molds and traced it to genuine engineers. GST was demanded from genuine GST was demanded from genuine engineers for taking ITC without receiving the moles and further are not bringing the moles back after 3 years of delivery of the job worker. So here the time limit of 3 years for bringing the capital goods from the job worker does not apply to moles. It is not applied to moles. Hence genuine engineers have taken the ITC as correctly. There is no issue. Only the capital goods. Question number 4 answer will be the genuine engineers should reply on the following line, that is under section 19.6 the principal may take ITC and capital goods sent to job worker for a job work without being first brought to his place of business. He may brought his back or he may not be brought his back. He may send that goods directly to the customer. There is no issue. He may take the ITC and that capital goods. There is no issue. Next, if the capital goods sent for job work should either be returned to the principal or must be supplied from the job work premises within 3 years. So from the job work the goods must be returned or sell to another person within 3 years. It will be extended to another 2 years from sending them to the job worker or direct receipt by the job worker from the supplier. So whenever he is receiving, that is job worker is receiving that goods from that day to 3 years will be counted. It may be extended to 2 years if the goods are not returned or if the goods are not sold supplied to another persons. Then if the above time limit are not met, it is deemed that the capital goods were supplied by the principal to job worker. It will be treated as the goods were supplied to principal to job work. In other words, tax will be payable on them on the day they were sent out to the job worker. However, subsection 7 of section 19 provide that time limit of 3 years in subsection 6 for bringing back to the capital goods from the job worker does not apply to moles. Moles is not a capital good. So hence genuine engineers have correctly taken the ITC on moles. There is no issue. Next, question number 5. What is there in question number 5? Sudama Industries registered in state of Jammu and Kashmir and manufactures plastic pipes for other supplies on job work basis. So Sudama Industries is registered in Jammu and Kashmir and manufactures plastic pipes for other suppliers on job work basis. Okay. On 10th January, Plasto manufacturers, that is registered in state of Himachal Pradesh, sent plastic worth 4 lakhs and molds worth 50,000 free of cost. So on 10th he is sending some goods, that is plastic worth 4 lakhs and molds 50,000 on free of cost basis, FOC basis to Sudama Industries to make plastic pipes. Sudama Industries also used its own material, a special type of lamination material for coating the pipes worth 1 lakh in the manufacture of pipes. So this Sudama, what he is doing, he uses his own material and whatever the material provided by the component person, he is using that items and he work out the another pipes. He raised an invoice of 2 lakhs as charged for making pipes and return the manufactured pipe through delivery channel to plastic manufacturer on 20 October in the same financial year. Okay, same year. The same quality and quantity of plastic pipe was made by for Plasto manufacturer were made by the Sudama Industries Limited for its own raw material and sold to solid pipes for 7.5 lakhs on 20 October. On 20 October, it was 7.5 lakhs was charged for other persons, but here it was sold for 2 lakhs only. Next, examine the scenarios and offer your views of the following issues which refer to the provisions relating to job work under GST law. First, Is there any difference between the manufacture of plastic pipes by Sudama Industries for plastic manufacture and solid pipes? So, is there any difference? First, we will see that that job work is provided if to the another registered person, then it will be treated as job work firstly. So there are this person Sudama is providing. Sudama is a manufacturer person and Plasto manufacturers is a job worker. Here is in process for inputs. So where the principal manufacturer and goods were manufactured by solid pipes. Here the whatever the processing or treatment of job work taken on own account is supply of goods. That is, it will be treated as supply of goods when it is used. Here the job work is expected to work on goods sent by the principal. Who is sending the goods? That person is sending the goods to 1,50,000 is there, no? That amount. Next, whether Sudama Industries can use its own material even when it is manufacturing the plastic pipes on the job work basis. So job worker in addition to the principal goods, they may use own goods also for the purpose of job work. No issue. Next, whether sending the plastic and molds to Sudama Industries by plasto manufacturer is supply and taxable invoice need to be issued for the same. Here they may the provisions relating to return of goods is not applicable in this case. Whether sending of plastic molds Sudama Industries by plastic manufacturer is supply and taxable invoice is need to be issued for the same. So wherever the plastic manufacturer is not required to issue taxable invoice for sending the inputs to the Sudama Industries, it is not required to issue any taxable invoice. Next, where Sudama Industries should include the value of free of cost plastics and molds supplied by plasto manufacturers in its job charges. So here what is going, whether Sudama Industries should include the value of free of cost plastics and molds supplied by plasto manufacturers in its job charges. So here it may liable for the same incurred, whatever the plasto manufacturers incur, it will be same liable for that. Next, answer will be seen for question number 5th. First answer. As per section 2 class 68. First of all, what is meant by job work? Job work means any treatment or process undertaken by a person on goods belonging to any registered person, and the expression job worker shall be construed accordingly. Here what is meant by job work? Job work means any treatment or process undertaken by a person on goods belonging to another registered person. Is this job worker doing only the treatment or process to another registered person, that goods related to another registered person, and expression of job work shall be construed accordingly. That is, the registered person on whose goods inputs are capital goods job work is performed is called principal. So who is sending the goods or on goods who perform the work, the goods who is the person is there, no, that person is called as principal, and the job worker is expected to work on goods sent by the principal. Here registered person will be the principal and job worker is doing in accordance with the principal. Therefore, when goods are manufactured by Sudama Industries for plasto manufacturers, it is a job work. It is treated as a job work as the process is undertaken on inputs supplied by the principal. That is, plasto manufacturer is sending the inputs, and when goods are manufactured by solid pipes, it is manufactured on own account of the pipe or manufactured from a company own raw material. Further processing or treatment on job work basis is a supply of service. It is treated as supply of service, even though there is receiving the goods, but they are performing only service as per para 3 of schedule 2 to CGST Act 2017. And manufacture of pipes on own account is a supply of goods. When they are providing on their own account, then it will be treated as supply of goods. But if you are providing the items, they are performing the work, they are processing or treatment of job work basis, then it will be treated as supply of service. Next, second, it has been clarified what circular number 38/2018 GST dated 26/3/2018, that is, the job worker, in addition to the goods received from the principal, can use his own goods for providing the services of job work. There is no issue. Next, third point, section 143 provides that register principal may without payment of tax send inputs or capital goods to a job worker for job work. So register person may send, it is not required to pay tax amount, he may send inputs or capital goods to job worker or job work for job work. Subsequently, on completion of the job work, the principal shall either bring back the goods to his principal place of business, or he may supply the same directly from the principal place of business or premises of job work within 1 year. He must deliver within 1 year in case of inputs, within 3 years in case of capital goods. So for capital goods it was 3 years, for inputs it was 1 year. He must sell from there, or he must receive from back from the job work places. If he is not get it back within 1 year in case of units, or within 3 years in case of capital goods, then it will be treated as a supply, that principal is supplied goods to the job work. Next, but this 1 year and 3 years goods except that molds, dies, jigs and furniture or tools. Thus, provision relating to return of goods is not applicable in case of molds, dies, jigs, fixtures and tools. Next, it is a time frame for 1 year or 3 years. 1 year in case of inputs, 3 years in case of capital goods for bringing back or further supply of the inputs and capital goods is not ordered. The activity of sending the goods for job work shall be deemed to be supplied by the principal on the day when the said inputs or capital goods were sent out by him. Thus, essentially sending goods for job work is not supply. First of all, it is not a supply, but when he is not returned the goods within time limit specified, then it will be treated as supply. Next, but it acquires the character of supply only when the inputs or capital goods sent for job work are neither received back by the principal nor supplied further by the principal from the place of business or premises of the job work within 1 year or 3 years being sent out. Next, therefore sending of plastics and molds by plasto manufacturer to Sudama Industries, the job worker, is not supply. First, it will not be treated as supply or received back within stipulated time, and provisions relating to return of goods not applicable in case of molds. In case of molds, it will not be applicable. Next, Rule 45 provide that inputs, semi-finished goods or capital goods being sent for job work shall be sent under the cover of delivery challan. So he must issue the principal must issue the delivery challan when he is sending the goods to job worker. Next, therefore, plasto manufacturer need not issue a taxable invoice for sending the inputs to Sudama Industries, but should send the inputs under the cover of challan. So he is required to issue delivery challan, but not for taxable invoice. He is not required to issue taxable invoice. Next, as per section 15(2)(b), any amount that the supplier he is liable to pay in relation to such supply, but which has been incurred by the recipient of the supply and not included in the price actually paid or payable for the goods or services, or both, is included in the value of supply. So here any amount the supplier is liable to pay in relation to supply, but which has been incurred by the recipient. If the recipient is incurred and it is not included in the price actually paid or payable for the goods or services, both will be included in the value of supply. Liability will be the supplier, then he is liable to pay, but the amount was paid by the recipient, it will be included in the value of supply. Next, however, Sudama Industries should not include the value of free of cost plastics and molds supplied by plasto manufacturer in its job charges. So Sudama should not include the value related to cost of plastics and molds job charges, as Sudama Industries Limited used to manufacture plastic pipes from raw material supplied by the plasto manufacturer. Thus, at no point of time was Sudama Industries Limited, supplier of job work services, liable to pay the raw materials, and therefore the value thereof should not be included in the job charges. It should not be included in the job charges, even though the same has been incurred by the plast manufacturer, that is recipient of job work services. That is question number 5. Next question, 6th question. What is there in 6th question? 6th question. The Aloka Private Limited manufactured Cent steel cabinets worth 50 lakhs under the delivery challan. So under the delivery challan, he has to Mr. Prem, a registered person, job worker, for job work on 28th January. He is sending the goods to job worker on 28th January. And the scope of job work include mounting the steel cabinets on metal frame and sending the mounted panels back to Aloka Private Limited. The metal frame is supplied by the Mr. Prem Tool. Mrs. Prem Tool has agreed to consideration of 5 lakhs. So he is agreed to consideration was 5 lakhs rupees for the entire mounting activity, including the supply of metal frame. Next, during the course of mounting activity, metal waste is generated, which is sold by Mrs. Prem Tools. So here what he is doing, Mrs. Prem Tool. Who is the Mrs. Prem Tool? He is a job worker, and out of he is doing the work, some waste was produced out of that material, and that wastage was sold by him at the rate of 45,000. Okay, Mr. Prem Tool sent the tools cabinets mounted on metal frame to Alok Private Limited on 3rd December in the same financial year, assuming GST rate of for metal frame as 28%, for metal waste as 12%. So GST rate was for metal frame 28%, waste of metal waste for 12%, and standard rate for service is, that is job work service, is 18%. You are required to compute GST liability of Mrs. Prem Tool. Also give reason in inclusion or exclusion of value cabinet in the job charges for the premises of payment of GST. What is the liability for Prem Tool? Means they are receive the consideration of 5 lakhs. So for 5 lakhs, it will be chargeable for GST rate at the rate of 18%. That is 5 lakhs into 18%, that is GST 90,000. And he has sold the some metal waste, that is 45,000. Its rate was 12%. So it will be chargeable to 12%. That is 5 lakhs into 18% and 45,000 into 12%. That is 5,400. Total GST payable by the Prem Tools, who is a job worker. That is the answer. What is there in 6th question answer? In 6th answer, as per para 3 of schedule 2 to the CGST Act, any treatment or process which is applied to another person's goods is a supply. It is treated as supply. Whatever the treatment or process applied to another person's goods, you are receiving another person's goods and you are doing some treatment for that goods, it is treated as service. It is treated as service and accordingly is subject to GST rate applicable for services. Whatever the services rate is there, that rate will be applicable in the given case. Mrs. Prem Tool, that is job worker, undertake the process of mounting the tool cabinets of ROC Private Limited, that is principal on metal frames. In view of para 3 of schedule 2 of the CGST Act cited above, the mounting activity classified as services. So mounting activity is classified as services, even though they are sending metal frames are also supplied as part of mounting activity only. Accordingly, the job charges will be chargeable at the rate of 18%. It will be charged as 18%, which is applicable for service, which is applicable rate for service. Next, further, the value of steel cabinets will not include the value of taxable supply made by the Prem Tools as the supply of cabinets does not fall within the scope of supply to be made to by Mrs. Prem Tool. Whatever the value of cabinet is there, no, that cost, that amount will not be included in taxable supply. So the goods, the metals what is he is sending, that cost will be not included. Next, Mrs. Prem Tool only required to mount the stools cabinet which is are to be supplied by ROC Limited and metal frame which is supplied by it. As regard to sale of waste, but the sale of waste generated during the job work, since Mr. Prem Tools is registered, the tax will be leviable on the supplies will have to be paid by it in terms of section 143(5). So on the sale of wasted is required to pay tax, and what is the service they are providing, on that service he is liable to pay tax. But what is the material they are receiving, on that material he is not required to pay any tax. Supply of treated as supply of goods, and GST will be applicable waste, that is goods rate. Accordingly, GST liability of Mrs. Prem Tool will be computed as under, that is job charges 5 lakh, GST at the rate of 18% 90,000, sale of metal waste 45,000, GST at the rate of 12% 5,400, total GST payable by 95,400. Next, question number 7. What is there in question number 7? That is, Bedi manufacturers, a registered person, instructs its supplier to send the capital goods directly to Rajesh Enterprises, who is a job worker, outside its factory premises for carrying out certain operations on the goods. So it is who is a job worker, he is doing some operations outside the factory premises. The goods were sent by supplier on 10th April and received by the job worker on 15th April. Okay. Rajesh Enterprises carried out the job work but did not return the capital goods to their principal, Bedi manufacturers. Discuss whether Bedi manufacturers are eligible to retain the ITC availed by them on the capital goods. What action under GST Act is required to be taken by Bedi manufacturer? There is no issue for taking the credit by the Bedi manufacturer. There is eligible for retain the ITC availed by him on the capital goods. However, when it is a capital goods, it is required to return back or sell from the job work places within 3 years. Within 3 years. Next, what your answer if the place of capital goods, jigs and fixtures are supplied to the job work and the same has not been returned? So that 3 years time limit is not applicable to that dies and fixtures. Answer question number 7. As per section 19.5, the principal is entitled to take ITC entitled to seek ITC on capital goods sent for job work, even if the said goods are directly sent to job worker. When he is sent to directly to a job worker. Section 19.6 stipulates that where the capital goods sent directly to the job worker are not received back by the principal within 3 years. In the case of capital goods, it is 3 years. In the case of input, it is 1 year. But time limit is not applicable to dies, fixtures, jigs, that goods. Date of receipt of capital goods by the job worker. It shall be deemed that such capital goods has been supplied by the principal to the job worker on the day when the said capital goods were received by the job worker. Next, in view of aforementioned provisions, BD manufacturers are eligible to retain the ITC available by them on the capital goods. However, if the capital goods are not retained by the Rajesh enterprise within 3 years from 15th April, date of receipt of capital goods by the job worker, it shall be deemed at such capital goods been supplied by the BD manufacturer to Rajesh enterprise, that is, principal is treated as supplied the goods to job worker. It is after the expiry of 3 years, so it is required to send it back within 3 years, or it must be supplied within 3 years. However, there is no time limit for of mouse and dice, jigs and fixtures or tools sent out to the job worker for job work. However, if Rajesh enterprise does not return the jigs and fixtures to BD manufacturer, it shall not be considered as supply of jigs and fixtures to Rajesh enterprise. It shall not be considered as supply, supplies. It is this case also BD manufacturer will eligible to retain ITC available by them. There is no problem for retaining, and it is not required to reversal.